Well, guys, we're coming to you from the laundromat tonight. Actually, Eric and I are going to be on the road this evening, and you'd think after 21 nights in a row we would have remembered to say, hey, let's record Advent this morning before we leave the house, but we didn't. But that's not going to let us stop us. So we're going to be in the book of Matthew again tonight, chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 9 through 12. So last night we saw as the wise men came to Herod and said, hey, Herod said, hey, when you go find where this kid is that's been born the King of the Jews, come back and let me know, because I want to go worship him too. And we're going to see what happens here. So verses 9 through 12 in Matthew chapter 2, it says, when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented him with gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned by God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. So we see that this kind of gives us a little insight into that the wise men weren't there the night Jesus was born. This is probably about 2 years later, maybe somewhere 18 months like that. And the star they saw in the east that signified to them that, hey, this child is being born, this Savior to the world is going to be born. We need to go and find where he's at. So they traveled to Jerusalem where Herod was, and then he said, hey, when you find him, come back and let me know. And then as they departed from Herod, this star appeared again, and they followed it, and it led them straight to where Jesus was and Mary, the house that they were living in. And they go in and they present him with gifts, and they fall down and they worship him. And then as they get ready to leave, the Bible tells us that they were warned by God, hey, don't go back to Herod. And they decided, hey, we're going to follow what God says, and we're going to go home a different direction so that we don't have to go through and see Herod. What this shows us is even though there are people out there that don't believe in God, God can work through them to accomplish the task that he has set forth to accomplish. These wise men weren't believers in God. They weren't believers in the Jewish faith then, but they did recognize who God was. So even non-believers recognize and know that our God is real and that he is the only God, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they believe in him. So that's something to take away from this, guys, is that non-believers can still be moved and shown and do things that God asks them to do. So hope you join us again tomorrow night. We love you. God bless you. And y'all keep praying.